Do you know, here's something we often forget about the day of Pentecost, and about most days that we face when there are things going on that we may not easily understand. God always keeps his word. So when Peter saw the strange things that were happening on that day of Pentecost in Acts chapter 2, he knew that, well, nothing happened by accident. And when something confusing came up, what he needed to do was go back to the book and see what was going on. And he didn't take very long about it, because quite soon he was standing up, explaining what was going on, the weird things in his life at that point in time, the wind screaming through the house indoors, the fire landing on people's heads, the languages people were speaking that they'd never learned. Peter didn't just stand up and say, well, this is a surprise, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Now what he did is that he stood up and he said, this is that. This is exactly what God said he was going to do. Hundreds of years earlier, Peter was aware. The prophet Joel wrote, "In the last days, I'll pour out my spirit on all people, said the Lord." And there it was, happening in front of their very eyes, right on schedule, and they were all part of what God was doing, fulfilling what he'd said he'd do hundreds of years before. Why does that matter? Well, because if God kept that promise, well, he's likely to keep the others too. And he promises never to leave, never to forsake the people who put their trust in him. He promises that whatever bad stuff we might have got up to in our lives over the course of them all, and there are things we hide away, let's be honest about it, he promised that he could forgive those sins, and he would forgive them for everyone who turns from their sins and follows him. And he promised to return again one day to make all things new, put everything right. You see, the thing is this, and the important thing, God doesn't forget. God doesn't flake. God keeps his word, and he keeps it to everybody. The man, his wife, his kids on the beach today, and you, wherever you are, too. God keeps his word to everyone all the time. So the important thing becomes making sure that we're on the right side of it. Straight away, those people there at Pentecost, hearing what Peter was saying, said, well, how do we get to be on the right side of it? Yeah, he got to that straight away, and it'll be in the next little video in this series.